courtesy of the red, white, and blue.
It's time for Veterans Issues, the show that brings you information about veterans, military, and their family. Now here's your host, Ken Rollins.
Welcome in. We are brought to you by the Red, White, and Blue. I appreciate you tuning in this week. I always say turning in. Going back to the old days when you turn the dial. But appreciate you tuning in this week. My guest is he's been on here many times before, and he's winding down his career. His name is Sonny Miller. He's a veterans representative for the Alabama Employment Service, and we're going to talk about a lot of things as we always do. Stay where you are, get a pen. You're going to need it in this show, so be right back. Stay right there. Welcome back to Veterans Issues. Ken Rollins here. Today's guest is our friend, Sonny Miller, and I say our friend. He's a veterans friend, and he's a friend of others, and he's been on the show many times, and I've asked him to come back and bring us up to date with some things that he's aware of that I'm not, and you may not be aware of. So welcome back to the show, Sonny Miller.
Glad to be here. Glad to be here.
You're glad to be anywhere?
That's my line.
That's your line.
That's
okay.
my line.
Okay, let's do it again. Welcome back.
Varmint. He's been razzing me since I got here, folks.
You're never going to be my co-host going like this.
I'm taking over.
You already been to?
Yeah. Hey, look. You're familiar with VRAP, Veterans Retraining Program. That officially ended October 1st. Now, for veterans who had their applications in on that day, their training is good, as long as it's finished by March 31st, 2014. Now, if their classes last longer than that, they're going to have to pay it from April 1st until end of the class.
Moly.
Yep, sure enough. And you know, there is mayhem in Washington. I mean, you know, it comes as a surprise to a lot of people that, well, I've got to remember this is a family type program, so I cannot talk bad things.
Thank you.
I'm falling to pieces.
That's what Patsy Cline said.
I told you I couldn't wire that thing.
That's all right. Don't worry about it.
The bad thing is they're going to come out here now and wrap it around my neck.
No, as long as we can hear you, we're okay.
You can hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, look, I just found out before coming over today, and this impacts me and it impacts you. Effective November 1st, if these guys in Washington haven't solved their differences, we will not be getting our military retirement checks, military disability checks. We will not be getting those because there's no money.
Yeah.
And this is official as of November 1st, 5 million vets will not be getting their benefits.
Yeah, I'm going to pull up my phone later on, and I got that same information on it as I left home this morning. And you're so right. That's scary because during this shutdown, one of the things my phone was ringing off the most, including a relative that said, "Am I going to lose my VA disability?" Well, like that person and a lot of others, that's their main income. Mm-hmm. Some of these people that were. I don't have to put names with them, but there was one fellow that he was almost to the end of his life, a young man. His son had left him. He was living in an old trailer that no power.
Yeah.
He just was the bottom, and his sisters came to me. And long story short, he got disability, big time. He got 100% disability. And his life went from that to a double wide to a real nice living, and his son's back with him. But if you took that away from him, it's slippery slope right back in there. And there's a lot of people in that same. So if they cut that, there's a lot of people worried. My phone was ringing a lot.
I mean, I'm worried.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
You know, I'm
100%. So yeah.
Well, you know, I plan for the future, so I've already got my cup and my pencils that I'm going to sell.
Yeah. Well, I paid off some pork chops last night and put a ham on layaway, so.
No,
things are looking
I know
better.
Where you live, kid. There's that one. Now, another one that's impacting active duty people and soldiers and airmen in the National Guard or Army Reserves or any reserves. No longer military tuition assistance. None. They don't have any money. So, right now, it was cut off October 1st. So anybody on active duty or in the Guard or Reserves, if they've applied, they're being told if they attend those classes, they're going to be responsible for paying them.
Was that a result of the sequester?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, this budget thing that's going on, yeah. So the soldiers are being told they can register for tuition assistance, but they will not get that until after the budget problem is solved.
Wow.
And that may be not until after the next election, vote them varmints out. You ever hear that phrase?
Yeah. Well, Sonny, the people that make wars and we fight them, the people that make the wars make decisions that affect you and I and the military, active duty, and the retired and the disabled. And sometimes I feel like I'm a child in a divorce. You got this party pulling against this party, and in the middle somewhere is the people who made it where these parties could exist.
Yeah.
They somehow they forget how they got to Washington. If you understand what I'm saying, and it's not the vehicle they got there on; it's how they got there.
You remember, only about 3% of the people in Congress have served in the military. 20, 30 years ago, almost everybody.
Yeah.
But it's not that way now. So the ones who are making these decisions have no idea what impact they're causing the veteran, the active duty people. As somebody said today, we're still fighting a war, but when you come home, you may not be getting anything.
Well, you and I know Senator Bob Dole, war hero.
Yep.
Served in the Senate, was leader, Senate majority. He was the ran for president. He's the guy who spearheaded building the World War II memorial.
That's right.
And that memorial was built on the backs of the people. And if you remember, Waffle House had a big thing. Everything you bought went toward building that memorial. The taxpayer didn't build that memorial, but that's the story of another sense. But
yeah,
it was some bad times for us.
There was another story that came out today, and I have hidden it somewhere. How much time we got? We cooking good?
We got about a minute.
Okay. The VA is going to be impacted by this thing. Okay, this is services to veterans impacted by this sequester thing, or the budget thing. VA regional hospitals are now open, but the VA regional offices are closed.
Right.
So that means you cannot call the VA regional offices for help. And there was something in the news today. If a person dies on active duty, ordinarily they would get a check within 36 hours for $100,000. Not now.
Let me tell you what I think about it. A lady called me before I came to do the show today, and she's saying she's calling Montgomery, and and said that line, nobody ever answers that phone. And I said, well, they would have last week, but it's as it started today.
Yeah.
Well, I got to go to a break, but I just want to say that it is a regional office we're talking about in Montgomery, Alabama. If you've got a claim working, you forget it. They're not going to answer the phone down there till this is over with. And they were holding their own. Last week when I was in Montgomery, they were still on their own. But we're going to go to a break here. Come back. I got lots of things to talk to Sonny Miller about. Get that pen. Be right back. Welcome back in. We're talking with Sonny Miller, who is a veterans representative for the Alabama Employment Service, and Sonny is back because I asked him to come back in here. Now, before we go into the meat of what we were talking about, Sonny has helped a lot of people, and I got a list of awards that I did some checking up and found out that Sonny had received. I don't say one. These are some of the awards. And so I had to make a list of them. He was hired in 1993. He stayed in that position to 2001 and was promoted to, well, first of all, the definition of these awards is a Disabled Veterans Outreach Program, a DVOP DVOP, and then he's got another LVER, which is Local Veterans Employment Representative. And he was hired at DVOP in 1993, and he stayed in that position until 2001. And then he was promoted to LVER Liver, and now he's classified as a unit manager. Same pay and everything, just got a bigger sounding title. 94, 96, and 98, he was an Alabama American Legion top DVOP in Alabama. 1999, he's an American Disability Veterans of America select him as the top DVOP. 2003, the Alabama American Legion select him as a top liver in Alabama. And in 2003, the National American Legion select him as the top liver in America. In 2006, 2007, the Alabama Disabled Veterans select him as top liver in Alabama. In 2013, the Alabama Chapter of Vietnam Veterans of America select him as a Patriot of the Year. That's just some of his awards, and I wanted to say that because he is very precious to us, and if anybody can hear me out there on the TV land, I can't hear anybody here. So anyhow, those are some of the things that Sonny was rewarded for, awards. Now, Sonny, we was talking about the shutdown, and the shutdown has affected the federal region offices. It's affecting the national offices, but it's not affecting the state VA veterans.
Right. Anything with state, no problem.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of phone calls the first day when the federal offices were closed, asking if we were open. Yep, we here. So if there's anybody out there, in fact, I'll tell you what, one of the biggest problems we're facing right now, people who have been impacted, federal employees, are coming in asking about unemployment.
Wow.
And we've got a problem, you know, the federal workers are going to be paid when this thing is done. So if they file for unemployment, they probably won't get it because they're going to have to pay back that money they get from the state. So these folks are caught between a rock and a hard place.
Absolutely.
And like everybody, you know, I live paycheck to paycheck, and these folks, I don't know what they're going to do.
Well, you know, I watched some of the things that are being shut down, and I guess the thing that hurt me the most was the Vietnam Memorial, because that's an open air, and the guy that was responsible for building that, Jan Scruggs, is a dear friend of mine. And when he was proposing building that there on that land, they didn't want it built where it was obstruct Constitution Avenue. So if you notice, the wall goes down into the ground, and but there's no barricades, there's no gates. There's only a park guard there partially. Now they got guards up and police, and they're running, pulling the veterans out there where they can't visit them. And the same thing with the World War II memorial that Bob Dolan built. It was built with taxpayer dollars, not a private fund, but it's on government property, so they can do what they want to do. So shutting things down. Go ahead.
Okay, let's see. These are impacted still. Outreach and public awareness activities are stopped. Vocational rehab and education counseling will be extremely limited. VBA will not be able to continue overtime for claim processing.
Yeah. They were working late on that because General Shinseki had said he was going to get those caught up.
They're not hiring any federal employees, and that's all branches, you know, like the VA hospital, stuff like that. So, you know, we're living in troubled times. Pending claims, that stops. If you've got a claim in for action, nobody's touching it right now. Of course, they might have been doing that 2-3 months ago.
Yeah.
But VA hospitals and clinics, they're open. So we're good to go there. And burial benefits, previously scheduled internments will continue, but the schedule for internments could be reduced. So does that mean you got to wait to die to get buried? Of course it does.
Yeah, it's the one in Montevallo. The one in Montevallo, the cemetery there is a national cemetery, which is federal cemetery. It is affected by it. Ours, we've got a state cemetery that's down in Spanish Fort, Alabama. That's not affected by it. We're still going on. But the one in Montevallo is a federal cemetery, and it is being affected.
Well, is the new nursing home in Pell City going to be impacted by this?
No,
They're good to go.
That's state and federal dollars. Now we do have federal funds coming in that, but they're already in the can for the out year.
Okay, good. As far as my position, you mentioned last time I was here, the state still does not know how they're going to replace me. Whether it's going to be a hire off the street, do you remember? Got to be military disabled and bachelor's degree in any category. They don't know if they're going to hire somebody off the street or if they're going to transfer somebody from another office in, or if they're going to have John Reed from the Gadsden office come down here 2 days a week. Nobody knows. So they just may wait.
Yeah, you're state funded though, right?
Right. Well, I work for the state, but the funding for my job comes from Uncle Sam.
Yeah.
So that's still covered because that was put in the till.
Well, you've already, have you put your request in for retirement?
Yeah, just mailed it off
when
today, January 1st.
January 1st of
And
2014.
look, you're invited to my retirement party, but you got to bring your own bail money and your own bottle.
Yeah.
Now, I'll share my bottle with you.
I can't imagine having an office here without you in it. But what are you going to do after you leave here?
Well,
you planned that?
Early January, I'm going to go down to South Texas and bring joy and warmth into the life of my first wife. She still carries a feeling for me, you know, to be so close
in other
to
words,
heaven.
you owe her some money.
Well, I wouldn't have put it that way, but she said, Sonny, you owe me 3 years. Only 3 years? So I'm going to go down there. You know, it's cold up here. I'll just stay down there for a while. And when it warms up, I'll go up to New Jersey, see my daughter and my sons, and then switch over to Illinois and see my 2 sisters and come back here and learn to speak properly again. And that's what I intend to do. I'm going to hit those other 3 states I have not been to yet. 4 if I count the state of confusion. And, you know, I've been to 9 countries. I have no desire to go anywhere. Yeah. You know, I was in Washington a couple of years ago. That was enough of a third world country for me. So that's what I intend to do. My daughter asked, why don't you get a master's degree? Why? At my age, why?
Let me ask you this. I don't know what you'll be doing, but will you stop by here?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I still keep up to date here.
All right, well, we are running out of time on this.
That's their problem.
Yeah, they're telling me in my ear here. I finally hear them back here, but they said 30 seconds, so I got to go.
Okay.
Sonny, I appreciate you coming by.
Anytime.
And good luck. If I don't have to see you before you retire, thank you for what you've done for us here at the show, and I appreciate it.
I'll come back and haunt you.
I see you. Yeah. We got to go to a break. Got back. Got news you can use. Stay where you are. Be right back. Welcome back in. Appreciate Sonny Miller for coming in and doing the show, and I wish him well in his retirement. Second retirement, and he's going to all these places. People talk about going to Texas for the winter. You know, I live down there in the wintertime, and I never thought of it, but that is kind of better weather than we have up here. So I wish Sonny the best down there, and he promised to come back and be with us. So he's always brought us some good information. Now, Judge Stedham, as I told you, is somebody called me last week and wanted to know how they could get on the Veterans Court. Tell me what the Veterans Court's about. And Judge Stedham is putting that together, and Judge Howell, I think, is going to be on that. Sheriff Emerson, John Garlick, and some others are involved in it. So that's a great thing. I just got a report in Montgomery when I was there last week. Many, many counties in the state of Alabama have implemented these courts. And it's a win-win for the state. The tax dollars, us as taxpayers, we're the ones that benefits from that. And so if you're interested in that, give me a call and I'll hook you up with the people involved in it. And maybe I can hear you then because I can hear you now. But anyhow, and if you're looking for we still need volunteer drivers for the van that takes veterans to the VA hospital over in Birmingham. And if you would like to be a volunteer driver, drive the DAV van, give me a call. I'll hook you up with Paul Brule, who's the coordinator of that program, and it's a very noble project that you'll get some enjoyment out of. So the DAV van needs drivers. And let's see, I got a note here that if you're looking for work and Your veteran, contact Sonny Miller, and I just told you about him, and it's 256-832-0147. 832-0147, extension 244. Sonny will be there till January, so if you are a veteran and you're looking for work, go ahead and give Sonny a call. And let's see what else I got here. And the parking over in Birmingham, I always talk about that, but as I told you last week, they have purchased money to build a new parking deck on the east side of UAB. So one of these days, next 300 or 400 years now, one of these days we'll have our own parking over there again. Now, HMR Veteran Services is still hiring at Pell City and at their other homes, but next week's guests will be the folks from HMR are going to come on the show and tell us what they're doing, how they're hiring, what positions. And we're going to talk about something that very little talk about. It's called domiciliary care. If you know about domiciliary care, we're going to be talking about that with HMR. The only place that we've got a domiciliary is down at Pell City. So if you're interested in that and want to hear about it, next week's guest from HMR will be talking about. It's like an assisted living, but we're going to talk about the domiciliary unit down at Pell City and how you qualify to get it and that kind of thing. And remember that cane, I wish I'd brought it in here with me, but it's an eagle head on the top of it. And Jack York makes those. And Jack's going to be on the show before Christmas. He's also one of Santa's helpers, so he'll be back on here to bring some of the canes and things that he carves. And if you wanted to look at getting a cane for somebody for their birthday, Christmas, whatever, his number is 256-237-4743. And if you'd like to help us on building the memorials up in the Centennial Park, Afghanistan, Iraq, law enforcement, firefighters, memorials, send your donation to the Community Foundation, P.O. Box 1826, Anniston 36202. I'm getting down and running out of time. Shout outs to Marquita down at Dunkin' Donuts, Tracy Hurd down at Publix, and IHOP, Erica, Michelle, and all the girls down there. Betty Carr, the ambassador of Anniston, Caitlin and Bella Prim. And this week's salute goes out to Sonny Miller for all the many years that he spent helping veterans find employment. And for that, we appreciate him. So we're going to give him the first salute and the last salute. We got to go. See you next week. Veterans Issue.